First though, a BBC News NI special, Who Bombed Birmingham, presented by Kevin McGee.
London, 1974. Irish Republicans stage an act of defiance. This display was at the funeral of IRA man Michael Gohan. These pictures give a rare glimpse into the secret world of the IRA in England. One of these men was an active member of one of the IRA's most notorious units. This man has told us he was part of the IRA group that planned and blew up 2 pubs in Birmingham in 1974, killing 21 people. Then the worst act of mass murder carried out on British soil. This is the same man 43 years later walking through Dublin. His name is Michael Christopher Anthony Hayes. The IRA campaign may be over, but Mick Hayes clings to the uniform of his paramilitary past. He's been accused of being one of those who planted the Birmingham pub bombs, but has never faced charges. He says he was an active volunteer in the city the night the bombs exploded. Tonight, he breaks his silence about his IRA past.
I take absolute, total collective responsibility. And yes, I feel justified in being part of any part of the IRA that operate in England. There was no intention of the IRA to kill innocent people. That wasn't meant. It wasn't done. It wouldn't have been done if that was the case.
Did you plant a bomb in the
tavern
in the town or the mulberry bush?
I'm not telling you. My role was an active volunteer, Strike England. To bring the focus of the war to the attention of the English people.
In reality, bringing it to the attention of the English people meant unleashing a vicious wave of attacks in the West Midlands in the early 70s. In a sustained campaign over 18 months, 50 bombs and incendiary devices exploded. On the 21st of November, as thousands of people were enjoying a night out in Birmingham, the IRA attacked the city centre. A bomb exploded in the Mulberry Bush bar at around 8:15. 10 people were killed.
The force of one of the explosions was so great, it badly damaged a bus passing in the street.
Minutes later, a second bomb exploded, this time at the tavern in the town. 11 people died in the blast. Altogether, around 200 people were injured. Warnings were given, but they were too vague and too late.
It wasn't until next morning, with more than 50 dying and mutilated victims still in Birmingham's hospitals, that people realised the full scale of the disaster.
Although it's more than 40 years since the bombs exploded, the people of Birmingham have never forgotten what happened. The original inquest didn't conclude, and it's scheduled to reopen again this autumn. And the relatives are hoping it'll provide them with answers to their many questions. The inquest is being reopened following a campaign by the victims' families who feel that they've been denied justice and that their loved ones have been forgotten. Julie Hambleton's sister Maxine was 18 when she died in the explosion in the tavern in the town. She'd gone there to invite her friends to her housewarming party.
My mother ID'd Maxine, and the thought of knowing that our mom has that memory, her last memory of her daughter, of her burned remains, haunts me. She said that her hair was melted in her face, and it was very difficult to recognise her. And we've since found out, because we had the post-mortem reports, what her other injuries were. And that's so hard. That is so hard. And Maxine did nothing to no one. She was a really, really good sister. She'd do anything for us. And we love her. We love her today, as we did the day we lost her.
Even at this late stage, the relatives had hoped the reopening of the inquests would be an opportunity for them to find out who was responsible for the act of mass murder. Why is it so important for the perpetrators to be named?
If we allow people to come to any one of our cities and kill with impunity and never be brought to justice, what sort of a society are we leaving for future generations? So the perpetrator issue is seismic for us, and it should be for everybody.
In the aftermath of the explosions, grief soon turned to anger, and there were anti-Irish protests on the streets. 6 Irishmen living in Birmingham were quickly charged and wrongfully convicted. Known as the Birmingham Six, some of them were coerced into signing confessions after being mistreated in custody. In 1991, their convictions were finally quashed by the Court of Appeal, but only after they'd spent 16 years in jail for something they didn't do.
Justice! I don't think them people in there have got the intelligence nor the honesty to spell the word, never mind dispense it. They're rotten!
So if the Birmingham Six didn't carry out the explosions, then just who did? 5 IRA men, all active in the West Midlands in 1974, have been linked to the bomb attacks in Birmingham. For years, one of the key suspects has been this man, Michael Hayes. In the summer of 1974, he was living in the Acox Green area of South Birmingham. A self-confessed veteran IRA man, today he lives in Dublin. We went in search of him to ask him what role he played in the Birmingham pub bombs. We met a number of times. He said he'd need clearance from senior Republicans to speak to me. And then he finally agreed to talk openly, in detail, about the Birmingham pub bombings.
Well, I put it like this. Throughout the period of the campaign in the West Midlands, I was active throughout the campaign. I was active throughout the whole campaign in the West Midlands, yes.
So what was your role in the Birmingham pub bombings?
I just told you I was a participant in the IRA's activities in Birmingham. How clear can I make it?
Tell me about the bomb in the Mulberry Bush. What type of bomb was it?
What type of bomb? In what way, what type of bomb? It was a gelignite bomb. Made of gelignite.
What size was it?
You're asking what the forensic details was. I would suggest it would have been about 12 pounds.
And where was it placed in the bar?
As I understand, it was placed under the table. And repeating what I've heard. That's what I'm saying to you. It's up to your viewers and yourself to interpret what I'm saying. That's the only answer I can give you.
Tell me about the bomb in the tavern in the town. What
Same
can you tell me about that?
Same thing. You repeated the first one, as I heard. You repeated the first one.
Michael Hayes says his IRA career lasted more than 30 years, broken only by a 3-year prison sentence spent in the Irish Republic. IRA sources in Belfast describe him as an operator. Another former associate said he was dangerous and ruthless. When he arrived in England in the early 70s, he was already an experienced IRA man. The first bomb went off at 8:17. 10 minutes later, at 8:27, the second bomb exploded. Then at 9:15, another undetonated device was discovered at Barclays Bank. It received a lot less coverage over the years.
As well as the 2 bombs that ripped through the tavern in the town and the Mulberry Bush, the IRA planted a 3rd device in Birmingham that night. It was left here on the Hagley Road. It didn't explode, and reports at the time said only the detonator went off. But Michael Hayes tells a different story.
I was an IRA man in Birmingham, yes.
On the night that the Birmingham pub bombs were planted?
Yes, I was there in Birmingham.
And what was your role in the IRA in Birmingham that night that the bombs were planted?
What was my role? As a standby volunteer.
So what did you do that night? Take us through it.
I waited to see what was going to happen. When we found out what had happened, he defused the third bomb on the Hagley Road.
Who defused it?
I did. We were horrified when we heard, because it wasn't intended. I defused the bomb.
You personally?
Yes, me personally. Yes.
This is a picture of the third bomb. While it would have undoubtedly provided important forensic evidence on the real bombers, it no longer can. Several years ago, the West Midlands Police confirmed that they'd lost it.
You say that you defused the third bomb in Birmingham that night.
Yeah.
How were you able to do that? Where did what expertise or knowledge did you have that allowed you to defuse a bomb?
Quite a lot. Quite a lot. I specialise in explosives. I knew what I was doing.
Explain what it means to say into explosives.
To construct a bomb. To make a bomb. To make a bomb. That's what we're into. Clock timers. Them days we used clock timers. Highly unstable. That's the way it was done them days. Clock timers. Batteries. Clock timer. One detonator. Commercial detonator. Not electrical detonator, commercial.
And is that what the Birmingham bombs consisted of?
Yes, as you understand. Yes.
You see, that makes it sound like you did make the bombs.
I have no comment to make on it. And you must think what you think, whatever you think.
So you're saying that...
You see,
you're being asked...
I wasn't...
But you've been asked a simple question. Did you make the bombs that night?
I wasn't the only IRA man in the West Midlands. There was other men there with me. People choose to believe that I done this and done that. That's what they want to believe. I don't believe it.
Paddy Hill is one of the Birmingham Six. Today he lives in the Scottish countryside. He says his life was destroyed by this miscarriage of justice.
It's ruined my life. What you call it? I don't know how to put it. But nothing means nothing. You know, nothing means nothing. I'm more at home with animals than I am with people. Big Daphne. Good girl, good girl.
Paddy Hill too wants the bombers named and hopes the inquest will go even further.
I hope that they will show the truth, because the truth has never been told. I want them to show who made the bombs, who planted the bombs, and I also want us to show what happened to us. And what I want is for the truth to come out. I have a different agenda than the families. The families want to know who's responsible. And of course, I want to know who's responsible for torture, giving the orders for us to be tortured and framed. Silver! Elvis! Elvis, come on. I want them to deliver to us, the people who selected us to be the scapegoats.
So did the IRA feel any responsibility for the fact that 6 innocent men were wrongly convicted of mass murder?
We didn't put the Birmingham Six into prison.
No, but you put the bombs in the pubs.
The bombs was part of a campaign that went on. The Birmingham Six had nothing to do with the IRA. It wasn't the IRA that sentenced them. The British knew that they were innocent. The people were baying for blood. The West Midlands Police, not being able to catch the proper IRA men, went out and took 6 innocent men. Same thing with Guildford 4. Done the same thing.
Why didn't you walk into a police station and say, I know who did this, in order to get the Birmingham Six released?
Now that is about... you'd want me to go in and give the name of other men to become an informer. Let me tell you, my good man, I'd sooner die than become an informer. I would sooner die in front of you than become an informer.
Why didn't you go in and admit your own role in whatever you did or were involved in order to try and give an opportunity for the 6 men to be released?
And what purpose would that serve? You think that would have helped the Birmingham 6? Then you would have had a Birmingham 7. I would have been one of them.
Chris Mullen is the former MP for Sunderland South, and he was instrumental in the campaign to free the Birmingham 6. He's sceptical that the reopened inquests will meet the expectations of the relatives.
Several of the perpetrators of the bombings are dead, and of those that are still alive, I'm not aware of any evidence that would enable them to be brought before a court of law. Perhaps if one of them was to own up and put his thumbprint on a statement admitting responsibility, that of course would change the whole dynamic.
While investigating the real bombers in 1987, Chris Mullen had a meeting with a man in Dublin who he believed was one of those involved. He has never revealed that man's name, referring to him only as Mr. Z. But Michael Hayes confirmed to me that he had a meeting with Chris Mullen in Dublin around that time.
Chris Mullen interviewed me years ago, the MP. He mentioned that in his book.
What did you tell Chris Mullen when he interviewed you?
Exactly what I told you.
You see, for someone who won't answer the questions, you seem to have an awful lot of knowledge about the Birmingham pub bombings.
Well, there's a lot of people who read about the Birmingham pub bombings have an awful lot of knowledge through reading, you know.
But you're giving the impression that your knowledge is much greater than what somebody has read in a book.
My knowledge is only greater due to the fact that as a member of the IRA, I had a more intimate knowledge of things that went on around me than the ordinary man in the street.
Mick Hayes says he was arrested and questioned by the West Midlands Police in 1974 about the bombings, but was let go. In 1990, Granada Television made a drama documentary called Who Bombed Birmingham? In it, Michael Hayes was named as one of those who planted the Birmingham pub bombs. The programme said, Michael Christopher Anthony Hayes, bomb planter, now living in Ireland.
In 1990, Granada Television made a drama documentary about the Birmingham pub bombings.
Yes.
And they named you as one of the bombers.
Yes. Yes. They named me that, yeah. I was named as such. Not proven, but named.
How many people planted the bombs?
Two.
And who were they?
I'm not telling you.
Were you one of them?
I'm not telling you.
I mean, you were named in 1990 as
I know
being
I was
one
named,
of the
yes.
Birmingham
I
pub
know I
bombers.
was named, yes, I know I was named.
Did you plant a bomb in the
I'm not telling
tavern
you.
in the town
I'm
or
not
the
telling you,
mulberry
no.
bush?
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you.
So what was your role in the Birmingham pub
I
bombings?
just told you I was a participant in the IRA's activities in Birmingham. I was an active volunteer. An active volunteer.
Did you plant the Birmingham pub bombings that killed 21 people in November 1974?
Again, no comment.
Why won't you answer the question?
No comment. No comment. If I'm accused, I've been accused of a lot of things. Without one shred of forensics evidence, without one statement made, without one witness coming against me. Not one.
But did you plant the bombs?
I was a participant in the Irish campaign in England.
But you're not answering the question. Did you plant
I'm
the
giving you
bombs?
the only answer I can give you. The only one that I can give you. I'll leave it to your viewers, your editorial stuff, wherever they are, to work out what I'm saying. Again, I take full collective responsibility for all operations carried out in the West Midlands. I take collective responsibility for every IRA operation carried out in England, let alone Birmingham.
So you're taking responsibility for the Birmingham pub bombs?
I'll accept responsibility for it. As a collective responsibility. That's what I'll accept. That's what I take.
Michael Hayes was not operating alone as part of the Birmingham IRA on the night of the bombings. One of his associates was this man, Mick Murray. He was in the dock along with the Birmingham Six, but faced lesser charges. He got a 9-year sentence for bomb-related offences. What was Mick Murray's role the night of the Birmingham pub bombs?
He phoned a warning, as I understand. He phoned a warning. He phoned a warning.
And obviously he was too late with his warning.
There was a valuable, I think it was a valuable 8 minutes lost, if my memory serves me correct.
Mick Murray was also named in the Granada TV documentary and died in 1999. The programme also identified Seamus McLaughlin, known as Belfast Jimmy, a native of Ardoyne, as the man in charge of the Birmingham IRA at the time of the attacks. He had a paramilitary-style funeral 3 years ago. The fourth man was Jimmy Gavin. He's buried in the IRA's Republican plot in Glasnevin Cemetery in Dublin. On returning to Ireland after the Birmingham bombings, Jimmy Gavin served a life sentence after he murdered a man in Dublin in 1977.
James Francis Gavin was a prominent member of the IRA in Birmingham. So far as I'm aware, though he never told me this, and he too is dead, the bombs were collected from his house. Whether he was one of the planters or not, I don't know.
He made bombs. He made up bombs. He's a volunteer explosive volunteer.
He was a bomb maker?
Yeah.
Did he make the Birmingham pub bombs?
I've no comment to make.
So you and Jimmy Gavin, as he was known, worked together as two IRA bomb makers in Birmingham in the early 70s?
We were both into explosives, yes. High explosives. We were both explosive men, yeah.
The final suspect has never been publicly identified. While the name of the fifth member of the gang has been kept secret for 43 years, the impact of what the IRA did that night is felt to this very day. The relatives of the victims have always wanted the names of the suspects to be disclosed at the inquest. But just last week, the coroner ruled their identities won't be discussed, a blow to the families who've called his decision a whitewash.
I lost my father in the Birmingham pub bombings. Well, for me, I want to know who done it. You know, there was a lot of speculation about who may and who may not have done it, and I go through my daily life. I'm a Brummie. I still spend a lot of time in Birmingham, and I never quite know who I'm standing next to, and I may well be standing next to the person that killed my father.
My dad died young. He was only 17. We just want the truth, basically. It's the truth. Perpetrators, yes, but everything. We want to know everything that's happened, because there's so many rumours going around, about and about, and they need to be answered, really, whether they're true or not. Everything, especially when I was growing up, it was all about the Birmingham Six. As a kid, that's all I heard. It weren't about, you know, my mother and all the other members.
So the fact that the authorities convicted the wrong men also denied the victims and their families justice.
The truth. The truth, yeah. The truth. That's what's being concealed. They don't want it to come out.
I think that the perpetrators are known. The people that did it, planted it, was known. The fact that people were charged and that they served 16 years and then were released has been a drawback to us in the sense that the Birmingham pub bombings really after the trial was put away.
There's an inquest scheduled later this year.
So I understand.
Would you go along to that inquest?
No, I would not go along to it, no.
Why?
I wouldn't go along to it.
Why not?
And why should I? What reason would I have to go
Because
there?
you've said that you have more knowledge about what happened that night
I'm
than others do.
I'm just giving an interview. That is suffice. I'm not going back to England. I'm not going back to England.
Why did you decide you wanted to talk about this?
Well, I thought that it is from the historical point of view, something that had to be recorded. At least it was the point of view of a participant. I can't dictate the attitudes of people who would probably read a story of this, or probably see it on TV.
Were you ashamed whenever the death toll came through?
Absolutely.
You were ashamed?
Yes, I'm deeply ashamed. Not ashamed of the IRA's role, but ashamed of the fact that such things have to happen.
The IRA has never formally claimed responsibility or apologised directly to the families for the 1974 pub bombings in Birmingham. But Mick Hayes says he's sorry.
My message is, as it's always been, my apologies and my heartfelt sympathy to all of you for the terrible, tragic loss that you've been put through. And for all these years you've been trying to find closure. I hope at last God will be merciful and bring you closure. And I apologise, not only for myself, I apologise for all active Republicans who had no intention of hurting anybody, and sympathise with you.
Would an apology mean anything if someone was to say, look, I'm sorry, it was a mistake, we didn't mean it?
No. It would be insulting. You've murdered 21 people and all you've got is sorry? What about I did it, I'm handing myself in? That might help. An apology, please, don't insult us.
Do you have a clear conscience?
Very much so, yeah. I can sleep at night time. Yes, I do. Because I'm not a murderer.
I'd like them to grow some balls and come forward and say, I did it, and I'm prepared to serve the time for the heinous crime I've committed. No more, no less.
But why don't you just come clean on your role in the Birmingham pub bombs?
I gave you an answer. I didn't tell you an all truth. I gave you an answer.
Why don't you answer the question?
It's the only way I can answer you. That's the only way I can answer you. You can think what you wish, as the viewers will think, as people who read this thing will think. You must think as you wish.
The coroner has ruled he won't allow the names of the suspects to be discussed at the forthcoming inquests. The relatives say that they're well used to setbacks in their quest for justice. Unless the coroner's decision is overturned, what you've just heard could be the fullest account anyone will hear about one of the largest unsolved mass murders ever carried out on British soil.